Hello everyone, my name is Sarah from Maker Futures and I am going to show you a wonderful piece of software called TinkerCAD. And TinkerCAD is great for drawing on a computer. You can see some of my files here. Here's a little keyring with my name on. Here's a little selfie of me with my name on as well. And I actually 3D printed that, and you should be able to see a photo now. Bing! And I had lots of fun doing that. So if you are a teacher and you want to practice on this so that you can do it with your classes, fantastic. I'm going to show you where to get started. If you are the children in the class listening to this, I'm going to show you where you can build your skills so that you feel super confident to go on and create wonderful drawings on this software. And you might even want to check out how to build some circuits here. Okay, so a bit of electronics using this bit of software. So can you make a circuit? Can you make LEDs light up? Can you make a buzzer go off? Okay, and if you're into coding, so things like you might have used Scratch before, you might have used Octo Studio before, you might have used microbits before. There's this really cool part of TinkerCAD called code blocks, where you drop the blocks of code into an order, and as you're doing that, the 3D model starts to grow. It starts to be programmed, and you see that happening in real time as you are dropping the code blocks in. So there's lots to this software. It's a wonderful piece of software. It's free. You can access it from home, and you can access it on an iPad or a computer, and practice makes progress. Okay, so you just have to have a tinker and a play on this, and your skills will grow and you will get better, and you will feel more confident, and you'll be able to create some wonderful designs. And you can, if you're kind of lucky enough, you might be able to get them 3D printed. So if you've managed to get into TinkerCAD, so as a teacher, you will have an account set up. You might have set a class up in TinkerCAD for your children in your class. And hopefully, if you've done that, all of the children have got access to that class on an iPad or on a laptop, on a computer in school. And they've been able to kind of get to a window that looks similar to mine. So what we might want to start doing is just building our skills. And there's some wonderful things on TinkerCAD to help us out with that. If we are a teacher, I just want to show you some wonderful lesson plans on here. So children, this might be a bit boring for you, but your teacher can even send you these lesson plans, which is a nice thing to do. So you can see, you know, what the point of doing these tasks are. So what you can do as a teacher and as a student, you can click on this tab at the top here, resources, and you can click lesson plans. I'm already on it. And you can see all of the lesson plans available. Okay, now TinkerCAD is an American piece of software. They are owned by Autodesk, who are a huge computer-aided design software company. And if you want to buy their software, if you're an engineering company, or if you're an architect, or a product designer, or an engineer, or just a creative in general, you would end up paying quite a lot of money for their software. It's very professional, it's very high tech, and you can produce some absolutely amazing work on it. So yeah, to be able to get this free because you're a teacher or because you're a student, you know, we need to be taking advantage of that. So it is American. So it says here grade 5 to 12. And if we click on one of the lesson plans, so I'm just going to scroll down here and have a little look. So if I kind of, you know, I'm a little bit interested maybe in create your own avatar or design an inclusive play space. I can click on it and it says grade 5 to 8. If I click grade chart, it will tell me what years we're looking at. So this is for years 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay, that is just guidance. Okay. So we kind of, you know, in probably a primary school setting, we want to be thinking about maybe year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, but we could introduce it at younger ages. We probably just wouldn't use these lesson plans, okay? So here are the lesson plans. So like I said, you can, as a teacher, you can send them to students. So if you are a student in the class, you might get the lesson plan sent through by your teacher. And there is printable versions. There's a little marking thing that you can look at. And then there's lots of instructions kind of to work your way through. Here are the objectives, and you can just use these as a bit of inspiration, or you can follow them through to learn skills. But yeah, they're available to you, and there are lots and lots of them. Okay, and that age is just a good bit of guidance there. Okay, so maybe we've got an idea of what we want to achieve in the future with TinkerCAD. Okay, maybe we want to do, I don't know, we want to link it maybe to science, or link it maybe to a bit of art or maths with repeated patterns. But first we want to just build our skills, and we want to get used to it. And a wonderful place to start is this learning centre here. And this is for everyone. So teachers, TAs, parents, children, this is a wonderful place to get started. So click on resources, click on learning centre. And obviously we are going to focus on the 3D design part. But if you want to learn about circuits, there we go. If you want to learn more about that code block section, there you go. So learn 3D design. I'm going to click view all, and there are loads and loads of tutorials that I could work through to build my skills up on TinkerCAD. For I am totally wanting to do this one, how to create an alien. Look at that dude. Okay, so I'm not going to jump down to the bottom and try and build a space station. I am just going to start at the top. And you do not have to do every single one of these. Of course you don't, okay? But what you might do is you might do the first kind of, 10. They don't take that long, okay? So 10 isn't that many. I think I would get up to here, creating holes, and then I would go and tinker in the 3D modeling window myself. And then if I ever get a little bit stuck, I can always come back to this window to see if there's anything that looks like what I am trying to create, and maybe that could help me out. So you can always return to this at any point. Okay, so all you need to do is click on the tutorial that you want to do. As you can see, I have completed this one many times because I've done it with children in classes before. Now, what I love about this here is you can work your way through these at your own pace. So if you want to kind of take your time and make sure you go through it properly, that's absolutely fine. If you get the hang of this and get, your confidence gets up pretty quickly, then you can, bounce to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. So you can go at your own pace. In my opinion, when I've done this with classes in year 4 and year 5, I found it helpful for the teacher to show the class first how to just go through the tutorials. There's a little bit of reading involved. And if you aren't the greatest reader, like me, then you might just need that initial kind of, this is how you drag things in, this is how you rotate around, and then just getting used to knowing that the instructions are on the screen and making sure you click the next button and things like that. So when I have done this with classes, I've generally kind of modelled, which is showing everybody at the same time how to go through the tutorials. And I kind of do maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on how the class is getting on. So I, as a teacher, show the children in the class a couple of the tutorials and we all go through it together. But then, as we move on, the people that want to go at a quicker pace can, and that is absolutely fine. And then the people that need maybe a little bit more time to go through them, that is absolutely fine as well. Or you might get stuck on something and you need a bit of help, put your hand up, or the teacher or TA can come over and give you a little bit of helping hand. So when we click on a tutorial, it comes up with a little window like this. I'm going to press reset all tutorials because then it allows me to start again. Teachers, if you have set up a class, you can actually add these tutorials to your class activities. So you can see if the children have completed them or not. Okay, so a little kind of tip there. So I'm going to start. And here is my work plane. Okay, so see this blue work plane. It's basically like a piece of paper. So imagine it's a piece of paper on the top of a desk. Okay. Now, it does show you this in one of the tutorials, but it's in the second tutorial, and I think it should be the first tutorial because it's important to get your head around how you navigate around this digital space, okay? So the angle that I'm looking at that piece of paper, I'm like floating above it, which is weird, right? I'm like floating in the air looking down at this piece of paper. And imagine you were floating and trying to draw on a piece of paper in front of you. That would be very difficult. When we draw on a piece of paper, we're usually sat level with it, and our arm and our hand that is holding our pen or pencil, that is level with the piece of paper. So it's important that we try and understand how we can navigate around this piece of paper and how we can get to a point where we feel that it works best for us, and it'll be different for every single person, okay, which is fine. Now what I like to do, I like to use this cube up here. So this is my viewing cube, right? So the viewing cube matches how I'm looking at the work plane, okay? So if I click on front, there we go. I am looking at the piece of paper from the front view. So my eyes are level with the edge of the piece of paper. Now, if I hold my mouse over the cube, I'm going to click that little arrow at the top, and that is my top view. So I'm looking straight down onto the piece of paper. If I click if I go back to the front, so I'm at the front now, if I click round to the left, I'm looking from the left side. If I click back to the front and click round to the right, I'm looking at the right. Click back to the front, and if I click the arrow at the bottom, I'm beneath, I'm not upside down, but I'm beneath the piece of paper, okay? So it's important that you just get used to that. And if you ever want to return, okay, to the view that we started off with, which was like floating above it, you click the little house, okay, and it comes back to that. All right. So if it was me, I'd be just having a little play around with that first, okay? But it might help to actually drag in a shape first, all right? And this tutorial is going to help us out with that. So on the left-hand side here, you can see some writing, okay? And it says, place it. Welcome to TinkerCAD. We are excited to have you with us. Very positive TinkerCAD. TinkerCAD is used to build all types of creations by adding and removing shapes from the design workspace. Now you've got little buttons, tabs here that can take you to the next ones, or you can press next at the bottom. So I've just clicked next. Right, you did it. Great work. Let's add a shape to the work plane now. Instructions. Number 1. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? It says, see the orange shape on the work plane. I can see an orange shape. It looks like a cube. That is a hint, okay? So when you see like an orange, like ghosted out shape, that is a hint, okay? It's telling you what you need to do, basically, okay? It says, find the box shape in the shapes panel on the right hand side of the screen. So here we go. Here's our shape panel over here. Now it's on basic shapes at the moment. Keep it on that until you've been through the tutorials. There's a lot of fun to have in here, okay? For now, let's just have a gentle start to this, okay? Don't start dragging in penguins and things like that. Let's just go through the tutorials and learn the skills, and then you can go and do all the tinkering that you want to do, okay? It says left click on the mouse. Now here's something that you need to consider. You might not have used a computer mouse before because you are the generation of the touch screen. Now, I love a touch screen, okay? But I don't love a touch screen when it comes to TinkerCAD and when it comes to drawing on a computer. I'm not a fan of that. I think a computer mouse is so much better. But you might feel differently. So you might be using iPads in school, you might be using tablets, okay? And that is absolutely fine. It's just you're going to have to work differently and maybe a little bit of figuring out first. And maybe this document here can help you out with that. Okay, so this document, Mastering TinkerCAD student version, is available in our skills library. And here we go. It tells you how to use a computer mouse, okay? It tells you how to use a touchpad. So if you're on a laptop without a computer mouse, absolutely fine. Tells you how to use the touchpad. And if you're on an iPad or a tablet, there we go. It tells you how to use that. So check out that little workbooklet in our skills library, because there's lots of little helpful tips when it comes to mastering TinkerCAD. Okay, so I'm using a computer mouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click, okay? So left click and hold, left click and hold, left click and hold. Oh, I'm dragging a shape onto my work plane. And I'm going to try and get it as close as I can to that kind of orange ghosted out hint. And let go. Ooh, okay. So let me do that again. And this is the undo button up here. right? Backwards arrow, undo, or Control Z. I need to get better at my shortcuts. I'm sure all of you in the class are fantastic at shortcuts. I need to get better. All right, so let me show you that again. Here's my computer mouse, right? And if you have never used a computer mouse before, a little practice for you is absolutely fine. If you've heard of Paint before, let me see if this computer's got Paint. Oh, it does. Great. Right, here is Paint. It's just like a piece of paper and I paint basically on it. So I'm going to choose, ooh, let's go for an old school fountain pen, shall we? Let's go for green. Woo! Looks like medieval writing. Okay, TinkerCAD. So take some time out if you've never used a computer mouse before, because you are the generation of the touch screen. Open Paint, figure out what's the left button, what's the right button. Does zoom do anything on here? No. Okay, and just get control of that computer mouse. Do you want to save it? Definitely not. Okay, so left click on the box, drag it in, don't let go of that, and drop. Okay, so there we go, I've got my cube. Now this little box opens up here, so you can change the colour if you want. Ooh, should we go for a Maker Futures pink? I think we should. And then if you click off it, you just click back on it and it comes back. Okay, so you can change the height of your cube. Oh, I don't even know what it was. You can, instead of using the little tab, you can click on the number and change it. Okay, I don't know if you noticed here, but see these, its length is 20, width is 20, height is 20. We are working in millimeters here. Now, if you struggle to work in millimeters, you can change it to centimeters. Absolutely fine. We can click settings. All right, I don't know if you saw that. It's tiny in the corner over here. Click on settings. Okay, you can change the background color of your screen as well. So if you're not a fan of this white background, you can change it to a different color. You can, you know, say, no, I don't want any shadows on there. No, actually, I don't want the grid, but I personally think the grid really helps me out. Okay, you can kind of the zoom speed. I don't know. I'll show you zoom in a minute, but I'll just stay away from that. But if you want to change it, oh, you can't change. Do you know why you can't change it to centimeters? Because it's American. Okay, you can actually change it to bricks. All right, which is, let's see what that does here. Close. If that makes it a bit easier for you, absolutely fine. Okay. Snap to grid is, let me take it back to millimeters. Okay. There we go. Right, by the way, when I click on this, it's 20 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 20 millimeters. So we've definitely got a cube. And we could do a little bit of maths here. We can go 20 millimeters. How many centimeters is that? Take away the 0, 2. Wonderful. All right. Snap to grid is if I move, I'm just going to zoom in, by the way, and I'm going to use my middle mouse wheel. Right. So I'm scrolling in and I'm scrolling out. That is my zoom. Okay. If I click on it, snap to grid, I've got it set as 1 millimeter. So it's moving 1 square on my grid paper every time I move it. It's snapping to the lines. I would always try and keep that on unless you're doing really kind of more organic work, let's say. So maybe you have lots of curves, right? Or you've got a bit of an unusual design, which doesn't have lots of straight edges or blocks, and you might feel a bit restricted by it snapping to grid. So you can always take that off if you want to. Okay. Right, so where were we? We were scrolling, we were zooming. Okay, so left click is kind of select and move. Middle mouse wheel, zoom in and zoom out. Okay, right click on my mouse. What's it doing? We're getting dizzy. It's rotating. And then if we push in the mouse wheel and move our mouse, we're like ice skating side to side here. Okay, that is called panning. So I am panning with my work plane. I'm moving it around and then just let go and it'll return back to normal. Does anyone remember how I get back to that original view that we started off with? Because I've moved stuff around and now I don't like it. I want to get back to where I was. Anyone remember? Little hint. We want to go home. So we press home, we go back. Okay. Right, let's get that cube back in the middle. Sorry, back where it's meant to be. Okay, so for left click, drag the box shape. Yep, done that. When finished, click on the work plane to deselect the box. So there we go. And then continue to next step. Whoa, what's happened here? You can stack shapes too. Where's my box gone? So, shapes dragged from the shapes panel over other objects already in the workplace will automatically stack on top. We call it cruise. Cruise helps you stack objects on top of one another. Any shape dragged from the shape panel will cruise automatically. Because it's cool. Cruise to the top. Drag another box shape from the shapes panel like we just learned to do. But put it on top of the pyramid. Let go of the shape when it's at the top. Click and drag on the new box to move the box into the same position as the hint object. Click on the grid or empty space to deselect everything. Awesome. I think I'm missing a little ghosted out bit here. It's saying loading document. Let me just go. Ah, we got the confetti too early. Let's go back. Reset. Yes. This might happen to you. You might click next too many times. When you get to the end, just press reset and work your way through again. There we go. Let's change it back to make a futures pink. Okay. Next. Pyramid. Okay, I'm just going to grab my box and I'm going to put it at the top there. All right. Make a futures pink. There we go. Oh, it clashes a little bit with those colours. Right, so I've dragged the box in. Fantastic. What I might do is just have a little look at the top view. Left side view, front view, right view, and then maybe go back home. Okay, and next. There we go. I got my stars, and that makes me feel amazing because I'm getting some recognition, and I did well on that. Okay. And then I click done. Project completed. Continue. And it should take you to the next tutorial. And I've already got my stars because I completed it last time. But this tutorial, oh, those stars never stop, do they? There we go. This tutorial kind of shows you how to navigate around that cube. So just work your way through those tutorials. I'm just going to go back and give you a little reminder of where they were. Okay. So remember, when you are on your home screen, when you first log on TinkerCAD, you can go to Resources, Learning Center, and you can click on Learn 3D Design. view all, work your way through these tutorials, and you will build and build and build your skills. And you can have a little play around with any of these once you get your confidence up with it, and once you get the hang of it, you can even go and have a little play around with the circuit and the code blocks. This is great for repeated patterns. And yeah, just have a little fun. Remember, teachers, you can set up your class in TinkerCAD, which means you can give them access to lots of activities, and you can see them working all in one place at one time, and you can kind of monitor that progress and show people's work off on the board, etc, etc. You can look in projects, so there's loads of inspiration in here as well, hands-on projects. The gallery, you can go and steal drawings off other people, but maybe just try and, you know, don't cheat. Get good at it yourself first, and then you can go and steal other things from other people. But the most valuable time that you can have on TinkerCAD is tinkering yourself. Okay, so build your skills with the tutorials and then start tinkering yourself. So you can press create, 3D design, and this is your creative area here. Here's your work plane, right? You'll notice that there's no tutorial at the side because you're not in a tutorial. This is your wonderful piece of digital paper to get started off with. Okay, you can do 2D design work if you want. Okay, you can do 3D design work, right? Glorious Robbo is not the name that I've saved my work as, and I don't really want to. So what you can do is, I do like TinkerCAD for coming up with funny names, but if you don't want to save it as that, you just click on it. Sarah's animal. So you can see I've created an animal before. And then when you click off it, it will save your work as that name forevermore, unless you want to change it. Okay, so that is getting started on TinkerCAD, using potentially lesson plans, using those amazing tutorials, okay, in the Learning Centre. And remember, the best way to learn TinkerCAD is to have a tinker, right? And just have a play around. But remember, try and create drawings yourself using the shapes. It is the best way to learn. Don't go and steal other things from the gallery. Do it yourself and build those skills. Okay, right, have lots and lots of fun. And check out our other videos for teachers learning how to set up classes, creating some scribble selfies, and various kind of keyrings, enterprise keyrings. Maybe you've got an enterprise fair coming up, or just making some Christmas presents. Okay, have fun. Goodbye.